learned at an early age that I really loved making people laugh. In fact, I remember the exact day. First day of kindergarten. Up until then, my mom always used to dress me. But I remember telling her that I was a big girl now, going to school, and I should dress myself. So Mom agreed, and she laid out my clothes for me. When I went upstairs, they were, my whole outfit for the first day of school. The dress was mint green with a pattern of leaves. It had a white lace collar, black patent leather belt. I had white anklets also with lace, and the shoes. The shoes were black patent leather Mary Janes. I dressed myself, went downstairs, kissed my mom goodbye, and took off for school. Oh, school was only a block away, so I was able to make it on my own. And I remember walking down that sidewalk and feeling so grown up. I was almost to school when I heard my name, and I turned, and it was my mom. She was running after me. She was about a block away. She was saying something, but I couldn't make it out, and she was holding something in her hand, waving it. As she got closer, I heard what she was saying. "Jeannie, you forgot these." And as she got up close, I saw what she was holding. My brand new pink underpanties. Yeah. She took a hold of my hand and we crossed the street, and she took me around to the back of the school, and I stepped into my panties. And then I heard it. Laughter. Lots of laughter. About 10 of my classmates were just a few feet from me, and they were watching the whole thing and laughing. Can you imagine how that made me feel? Well, I'm going to tell you. It made me feel great. I mean, I was the center of attention, and I was making them laugh. I felt so good. I tipped an imaginary hat, and they laughed again, and then I did a little curtsy, and they laughed at that. Next thing, I gave a thumbs up to my mom, and I said, "See you later, kid," and I took off for the door with the kids in tow, my very first groupies. To this day, I still love entertaining and making people laugh. Before the pandemic, I spent most of my weekends at senior centers and assisted living homes telling jokes to seniors. Everyone's got to laugh, right? I remember my last gig was at a memory care center here in Loveland. And when I walked in, there were 6 or 8 residents in the waiting area. And they all just came around me and made me feel right at home. Finally, I had to ask. I asked one of the little ladies, I said, "Excuse me, do you know who I am?" She said, "No, honey, but if you go to the front desk, they'll tell you." I always start my routine the same way. "Hi, my name is Jean Nott. You can call me Jean, but don't call me Miss Nott. I really do love my last name. I mean, what's not to love? Besides, how many people do you know that can get a laugh just by introducing themselves?" My mom's maiden name was Wood, so when she married my dad, she became Margaret Wood Nott. Why, even their wedding announcement was funny. The headline in the newspaper read, "Would not marry." When I got engaged to Paul Crumby, 12 years ago, I thought about maybe using Nott as my middle name, but I thought, I'll try it out first. So while we were still engaged, I made reservations at the Buell Theater. When we got to the will call office, the girl asked me, "What name are the tickets under?" And I proudly said, "Nott Crumby." She looked at me and said, "Okay, you want to give me a clue?" A few years after my parents were married, my older sister Marley was born. 7 years later, I was born, and 7 years later, my brother Bill was born. And people would often ask my dad, they'd say, "Wiley, why did you wait 7 years between each kid?" My dad would always say the same thing. "Haven't you ever heard of the 7-year itch?" I was born in Vineland, New Jersey, and quite a few people ask me, how come you don't have an accent? Oh, I do have an accent, but it usually doesn't come out unless I'm telling jokes or if I've had too much wine. And to be honest, I think some jokes are just made to be told with a Jersey accent. For example, I'll give you this one. It's probably my favorite joke. It was passed down to my father from his father, and then Dad passed it on to me. Two ladies are on an airplane. The one seated next to the window has this huge diamond ring. The woman next to her leans over. She says, "Oi, I have never seen such a gorgeous diamond." The woman says, thank you. This is the famous Plotnik diamond." The woman said, "The Plotnik diamond? I never heard." She says, "You never heard of the Plotnik diamond? You heard of the Hope diamond, right?" She says, "Yeah, well, this is the Plotnik diamond." The woman said, "I would give my right arm for a ring like that." The woman said, "No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, because with this ring comes a terrible, terrible curse." "A terrible curse?" the lady says. "What is it?" The woman says, "Mr. Plotnik, ba-dum-ba-dum." I went to college in North Carolina. That's how I lost some of my accent. But one day I was standing out in front of the dorm, and this is a true story, and a little dog ran by, and a girl was standing there. I had never seen her before, and she said, "Oh, look at that cute dog." I said, "Don't tell me. You're from New Jersey, right?" She said, "Yeah. How'd you know?" I said, "Well, I knew the moment you said, 'Look at that cute dog.'" She thought for a second and said, "Yeah, a lot of girls in Jersey like dogs." Now, seniors, I have found, love certain jokes more than others. They like jokes about doctors, about marriage, and what I like to call bathroom jokes. Okay, here's an example. A guy goes to the doctor. He says, "Doc, I have been constipated for days. Haven't had a bowel movement. I don't know what to do." The doctor says, "Well, what are you doing for it?" He says, "Well, I go to the bathroom every half hour." He says, "Are you taking anything?" The guy says, "Yeah, Reader's Digest." A little old man shuffles into an ice cream parlor, and he is obviously in a lot of pain, and he sees the stool at the counter, and he really works hard and painfully makes his way up and sits down on the stool, completely out of breath, just enough to say, "Banana split, please." The sweet young waitress comes up to him and says, "Crushed nuts?" He says, "No, arthritis." Speaking of anniversaries, my anniversary's coming up, and I told my husband what I wanted. I said, I want something shiny that goes from 0 to 160 in 5 seconds. He got me a bathroom scale. The other day, I heard a married couple arguing, and the wife was saying, "I am so tired of you pushing me around and talking behind my back." The husband said, "Gladys, what do you expect? You're in a wheelchair." I was in Denver last week. Denver has changed, let me tell you. I was mugged, yeah. I was walking down the street. The guy comes up to me and he says, "Give me your cash." I told him, I said, "I don't have cash. I don't carry cash." He started frisking me, took his hands and started feeling around under my blouse. Finally, he stopped. He said, "I guess you're right. I guess you don't have any cash." I said, "Wait a minute. Keep it up. I can always write you a check." Mark Twain once said, "If you want to cheer yourself up, the best way to do it is to cheer someone else up." I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and I really hope the next time we see each other, it will be at a Moon Theater Company production live. Merry Christmas.